My apologies that we're late today.
Earlier this week, a U.S. State Department spokeswoman said Washington had seen the reports that Iraq had agreed to a $195 million arms purchase from Iran. She added that if true, the U.S. would be very unhappy.
Well, we've certainly seen those reports. If true, this would raise serious concerns. Any transfer of arms from Iran to a third country is in direct violation of UNSCR 1747. We're seeking clarification on this matter from the government of Iraq and to ensure that Iraqi officials understand the limits that international law places on arms trade with Iran.
Washington has several concerns over a possible Iraq-Iran arms deal, says former U.S. Ambassador David Mack.
I should note that there is an embargo on Iran for transferring any weapons. That's a UN Security Council resolution. The Iranians should be trying to improve their international reputation, not engage in something that would detract from it. Third, of course, we don't want to see any of these transfers of Iranian weapons going into Syria. Finally, there is a concern that any time one country accepts arms from another, it often accepts advice, it often accepts influence.
David de Roches, a professor of Near East Studies, says the political ties that go along with an arms deal are especially troubling.
A major weapons purchase comes with a major training case. It requires you to have compatible doctrine and things of that nature. So less importantly than the weapons themselves is the fact that this would seem to indicate a shift towards thinking of Iraq being drawn further into the Iranian ambit.
He says Washington would like to see Iraq move closer to Saudi Arabia and the other countries of the Gulf Cooperation Council.
Iraq's future lies with the members of the Gulf Cooperation Council. Iraq is an Arab country, and it needs to be integrated into the ambit of the Arab countries to promote wider regional integration. Unfortunately, buying weapons from Iran strengthens the case that Iraq is not ready to be integrated with its neighbors. And that will lead to further isolation of Iraq in areas of security and economy and trade and other concerns among these GCC countries that really, if Iraq is going to become a fully functioning country again, if Iraq is ever going to live up to its potential, it has to be integrated with its Arab neighbors. This is a step in the wrong direction.
The U.S. State Department spokeswoman said in recent years, Washington has supplied Baghdad with a whopping $15 billion of arms, and it is not intentionally slowing deliveries now. The United States says an arms deal would violate the United Nations ban on arms purchases from Iran. But just as importantly, Washington fears that such a deal would draw Baghdad closer to Tehran, thereby giving Iran more influence over Iraqi affairs. Burton Bolag, KSA2, Washington.